Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about another elder that was finally convicted and sentenced in Pennsylvania. Before we get into that story, I'm going to share with you an update. Okay, so the only update that I have is that Hurricane Milton has finally passed and we are back home after 2 weeks of being displaced. There was no water, no electricity for a while. And so we had to leave home and it was like a mini vacation, but it was really scary. Didn't know if I was going to have a home to come back to, but thankfully everything was fine. And so we're finally back home safe and sound. And another update is that it's Halloween today. So if any one of you guys celebrate Halloween, I know that's kind of scary for us in the HW community, but let me know, what are your plans for today for Halloween? Are you guys going to go trick-or-treating? Are you guys going to dress up? I want to hear all about it. And if you are with us on Discord, share a photo with us if you would like to of your Halloween costume and just your Halloween festivities, especially with the kids. If you have any kids and you are an XJW and you are finally allowing your kids to participate in holidays, even though it might be uncomfortable for us, because I know that it is super uncomfortable for me, but at least I let my kids enjoy it since they don't have the same trauma as I do. Let me know in Discord if you want to share any photos. You can go and join us. Click the link in the description. You're gonna see a creators tab, and there's a lot of us content creators on YouTube that are also on Discord, and you're gonna see my name on that tab is Ruby Quinn. Click there and share your photos with me. I love to see us finally, coming out of our comfort zone. The last update I can give is that if I sound nasally, it's because I came out with a sinus infection out of nowhere Sunday night. I don't know what happened. My congestion is horrible. I could barely breathe or taste or anything. I don't know what's going on. I think it's a sinus infection. I don't know. I've never dealt with this like without a fever. Like I've never been sick like this without a fever. So, anyways, aside from all of those updates, let me get to the story now. So sorry to keep you guys waiting like this, but I like to keep you guys up to tabs with me at the same time that I am giving you the news. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the story. All right. And so this story is going to be shared from the Twitter account of Larchwood on X. And I'm going to share my screen here with you. This was posted October 26, 2024. And this is what he writes. Pennsylvania JW elder sentenced to prison for CSA. Quote, another Jehovah's Witness elder told the court that the girls were likely lying and the judge should take that into consideration. At last, you and the truth both win. Right, the judge said. I'm going to head over to this link. And I'm going to go ahead and read this article to give you guys the complete details of this case and also the sentencing. So this article is entitled Lancaster Jehovah's Witness Elder Sentenced to Prison for Molesting Congregate Children. Norman Oveles Garida, 45 of Lancaster, was among 5 members of the Jehovah's Witnesses Church in Pennsylvania indicted by a state grand jury for using their clerical positions to sexually abuse children. He was convicted on charges of aggravated indecent assaults, and endangering the welfare of children. Lancaster County Court Judge Jeffrey Wright told Norman Oveles Garriga that if he thinks his sentence is unfair, he should look at it this way. It's the same amount of time his victims had to wait for justice. Wright sentenced Oveles Garriga, a Jehovah's Witness elder, to 11.5 to 25 years in prison on 12 charges of sexual assault against children in families that were hosting him from 1999 to 2003. Aviles Garriga, 45 of Lancaster, was among 5 members of the Jehovah's Witness Church in Pennsylvania indicted by a state grand jury for using their clerical positions to sexually abuse children. 3 girls from the same extended family who Aviles Garriga lived with accused him of molesting them while establishing himself in the United States from Puerto Rico. When 2 of the girls told their mother about what happened, she did not do anything about it. And Aviles Garriga tried to discredit the girls, saying they were demons and delaying their baptisms. The Pennsylvania Office of Attorney General investigated and pressed charges in 2023 after the Lancaster County District Attorney's Office declined in 2010. A jury convicted Aviles Garriga on June 5th of all 12 charges in the trial, including aggravated indecent assault and endangering the welfare of children, after a 3-day trial before Judge Jeffrey Wright. On Friday, 25 family members and friends of both the victims of Aviles and Garriga watched as Aviles and Garriga was sentenced, with many of them giving testimonies with the assistance of an interpreter. Aviles Garriga's mother, one of his children, friends, family, and a sister-in-law testified to Wright on his behalf, saying he was a wonderful family man and church leader, and nothing in his character would indicate he would be capable of the abuse. Another Jehovah's Witness elder told the court that the girls were likely lying and that the judge should take that into consideration. Many of the 3 victims' family members testified as well, many saying they love Aviles Garriga, but he refused to change or acknowledge the damage he did to the girls, and the law needs to be honored. I have been waiting 24 years for justice, and now the justice is here, the mother of the 2 victims said. All 3 girls spoke in court, outlining the damage Aviles Garriga did in their lives and how he tried to shame and pressure them into silence, destroying their credibility. One spoke about suicide attempts and consistent panic attacks. Before sentencing, Aviles Garriga was deemed a sexually violent predator. Sexually violent predators are sex offenders whose lives include factors that make them likely to engage in predatory or violent offenses. Assistant AG Angela Speranza said professional evaluations showed Aviles Garriga had characteristics that would make him a sexually violent predator, but she did not elaborate in court, and Wright agreed to sign it into the record. Wright addressed the 3 abused women, calling them heroes and saying their persistence to seek justice despite the long road they faced put him in awe. At last, you and the truth both win, Wright said. He then addressed the people supporting Aviles Garriga, saying despite all the positive things they had to say about him, they never uttered a word of support for the 3 women who were vindicated in court or their families. He said it was a sign that not much has changed at the church in the years since the abuse began. When I read that article, I have to say this is actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing. These men are finally getting sentenced appropriately. These people should never be amongst us in society, amongst law-abiding citizens. And the fact that, once again, the Jehovah's Witnesses have kept this undercover, because if it wasn't for these documents being leaked, if it wasn't for these victims coming out, if it wasn't for all of these other people speaking out, and the only ones who didn't were the elders in that congregation, and he was an elder, it wasn't them doing the moral right thing to do by going to the authorities. It was everybody else around them. And they call themselves a religious organization. You see, that's what gets me. The Jehovah's Witnesses want to claim that they always have the moral high ground, that they always do things by Jehovah's standards, that they are morally above everybody else, that they are better than everybody else because they have Jehovah's blessing, because they're the only ones on the earth doing Jehovah's will by going door to door and preaching and teaching and etc. But when it comes to something as this, as you would think in the back of your head, okay, if somebody came to you as a spiritual leader or a guidance counselor or a priest or, any one of those positions that you have a measure of trust from your congregation, from the community, from anybody, right? You're just a trusted person. And that position, like the article explained, the clerical position, that title, that position also extends that trust. And the person goes to you. Would you not think that you would be the best person to go to the authorities first? Even on behalf of the victim. Because, most of the time, in my opinion, if that happened to me, I would be afraid to go to the police or, like a figure of authority as law enforcement. I would want my trusted friend or spiritual guidance or a counselor or somebody of that nature to at least come with me, or maybe they could speak on my behalf and give their testimony of what was said in our meeting, because I would be afraid, especially in cases with children, right? So I'm kind of thinking, I'm just brainstorming here, right? Wouldn't you want to be that person as the trusted individual to go to the law enforcement either for them or with them? So that's what kind of makes me a little sad, is that these people, I don't know if they take it for granted or they just don't care. Because you are being put in a position that you could potentially help somebody, right? You could help somebody. And whatever that means, you can help somebody because they're coming to you, pouring their heart out to you. And you don't do anything about it. So that's what kind of makes me think either they don't care about it, they take the positions for granted, or they themselves are the corruption that we see everywhere else in the world, and that Jehovah's Witnesses are no different than any other organization on this earth and any other religion, right? Because that's what some people used to tell me, right? Like in the comments. Oh, well, that happens in every religion. That happens in every organization. You're going to see corruption everywhere. Nothing is perfect. This is Jehovah's organization run by imperfect people. And therefore, we should excuse that we should accept incompetence, or that we should accept inadequacy when it comes to people in the Jehovah's Witnesses, specifically because, they're imperfect. Everybody's imperfect. That doesn't give you an excuse to say, oh, well, these men were imperfect. You got to remember that. No, I'm sorry. Something is seriously wrong with the elder body, or something is seriously wrong with Watchtower trying to brainwash these bodies of elders that they have to go through the service department or the law department before they go to the actual law, before they go and they get real help. These are the types of stories that get buried. JW.org is not going to put this story in their media category. They're not going to talk about this type of news on JW.org. So people like my Jehovah's Witness family, my Jehovah's Witness mother, would never see that this is going on in their organization. They think, and they also just believe whatever is on JW.org. They will not believe or trust any other website, not even the government website. They wouldn't believe it. So if it's not people like us talking about these types of stories, sharing these stories with our family, they won't know about it. And that's why I do these videos. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching the video and for sharing it. Please continue discussing these types of stories with your family members if you still have communication with them. These are the types of things that they need to know. They need to know that their donation money is going to court cases like this. And it's just despicable. I'm going to leave it here, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.